Now, sometimes it's really difficult to get a true sense of the scale of the image that you're seeing in a video, but this, believe me, is huge. This is the 132-inch AWOL Vision ALR cinematic screen. So I've got this matched up with the AWOL Vision LTV 3500 Pro, and believe me, together they are a match made in heaven. It doesn't matter whether you're watching the latest movies, even if you're watching standard TV, this is going to give you the most incredible cinematic experience. It really is another level. And although I've gone from a 100-inch screen to a 132-inch screen, the difference feels like I've doubled the size of the screen. It really is unbelievable, the difference. And the process for getting this installed is very simple. There are very accurate instructions, but I will come on to those in just a second, and everything that you need to install this screen is included. All you first of all do is slot the metal frames together, the top and the bottom, and then you do the same with the sides and make sure those corner pieces are all set in the right place. Everything is really easy, well made, and there isn't any errors. So once you have your main frame put together, it's time to put on a supporting bar down the middle. And again, this is very simple. There's just 4 screws to either end, and you just attach the metal bar. All of this is made with a lightweight aluminium, and so it's easy for one person to do. You do need quite a bit of space though. Here you can see the frame against my old 100-inch screen in the background, and hopefully you can see the difference. Now, there is a really helpful instructional video that AWOL have produced, and the one thing that I didn't do, but I regret and I wish I did, is at this stage get your fixing points in position for attaching the frame to the wall. I ended up waiting until the frame was completely complete with the screen on, and it made it a little bit more of a difficult process. So at this stage, when you've got your frame made, get your fixings up on the wall so that you can get it in the right place and you know exactly where it's going to be. The next stage is to roll out the screen. Now, it does come fully protected with a cloth, so make sure that stays in place, as that will help protect the screen. You need to put it so that the black side of the screen is up, but make sure you also put on the supplied gloves, because that will again protect the screen. They're a little bit creepy, but they do work. It's then time to install the fiberglass rods into the channels all the way around the screen. This will then be used to hook the screen onto the actual frame using the springs. It's very simple to do, but just do it slowly and gently, and then once it's done, you'll see that it's got more shape to the screen. You then lay the framework down on top of the screen, and there are markings for you to know where to lay them. And then, using the tool and the springs provided, you then just go around and hook the springs onto the first rung of the frame. Now, there are actually 2 rungs, because if the frame does loosen up over time, then you'll be able to tighten it. And then the final stage is to put the outer frame on, making sure that that lines up with the holes that you can see just in the gap there, and slip that on, and then you're done. That is it, my friends. And it looks absolutely incredible. Now, this is in a room with the lights on and also the blind open, and this is the real beauty of the ALR technology, the ambient light rejecting technology, which makes the screen incredibly bright. And just by closing those blinds, it takes it to a whole nother level. It is absolutely incredible. And in a completely black room, well, I'll show you that again in a few moments. But this screen is massive. It's almost 3 meters wide, and it's over 1.5 meters high. That is around 9.5 foot wide by about 6 foot high. There are a couple of things which sets this screen apart from other manufacturers. The fact that it's made from one single sheet means that there's no splicing, you're not getting any distorted color areas. And with a screen gain of 0.6, you're getting greater contrast. And with the ALR technology, you're not losing any of that brightness. It's brilliant. The LTV 3500 Pro is AWOL Vision's top-of-the-range projector, and it really is the perfect match for this screen. It sits around 17 inches away from this 132-inch screen, but if you've got a different size, then you can adjust the position of the actual projector. But I will eventually incorporate it into this unit, which means that it will end up sitting inside there, and then using my slider, which I have, it will then come out automatically when I turn it on, and so that is definitely a better option. But this projector, this is also something pretty special. Not only does it support Dolby Atmos, it supports HDR10, HDR10+, and Dolby Vision. It really is perfect for that home cinema feel. And for you 3D fans out there, then that's covered too. There's options for various different types of 3D depending on your source. As with most of these ultra short throw laser projectors, there's various electronic controls as well. You have the correction chart, there's manual correction as well, so you have 8-point keystone correction, and there's also electronic focus. Here you can just go into the focus settings and then use the controller, clicking it up and down, and get the appropriate focus for your preference. How about gaming? Well, for me, gaming on a huge screen is an absolute joy, but I do appreciate that some people may not be as keen. 132 inches is massive. When it comes to input lag, well, that's great on this projector. In standard 4K at 60Hz, you're getting as low as 15 milliseconds, which is going to be perfect for most people, but if you do need it even faster, you can pop it into turbo mode and get 8 milliseconds at 1080p at 120Hz. Now, that is super fast. Obviously for sound, we do recommend a dedicated standalone sound system. You're not going to get the full effect of that cinematic feel without it, but it does have 36-watt stereo speakers and it supports Dolby Atmos and DTX Virtual, and this is a quick idea of what it sounds like. So you can hear it's pretty impressive. It does give you quite a lot of bass, but it's just not the same as a full surround sound system. Now, when it comes to colors and picture quality, well, that is also very impressive. It has 107% of the BT 2020 color gamut, and the picture is provided by 3 lasers, all producing the primary colors, and that gives you a really accurate and well-balanced picture. But there are lots of changes that you can make to it as well, so that you can really put this into different modes if you want to get the best picture setting for your own environment. Now, I found that actually movie mode, I felt it was a little bit dull, and so the user mode and then just making some minor changes, which were very easy to do, and you'll see those changes as you go along, is definitely the way forward for me. But it does give you that overall cinematic feel, which is brilliant. Now, one thing that is often a criticism of projectors is fan noise, but this has a fan noise of less than 30 decibels, which is brilliant. It's definitely under a lot of other projectors which have triple lasers and fans, and so therefore it's not going to cause you too much of an issue. So I've already mentioned that a 132-inch screen is just incredibly different to a 100-inch screen, but you can get this up to 150 inches as well, which is just mind-blowing. If you want something that is just completely awesome, then check out the AWOL Vision LTV 3500 Pro together with the 132-inch ALR screen.